Hey, what's up everybody? It's Mark back here from Draft League Content, and today we've got my GPC Season 7 Week 6 match, I believe. Yes? Yeah. Week 6 versus Rufus or Mango Melginator? I've known Rufus for like 2 years, still have no idea how to say that. Coach of the Parasens. Now, we're two of the GPC oldies. I believe we're two of the oldest remaining members, even though I did take a season off. I think he also took a season off, but we've been around since Season 3, which is neat. And if you haven't checked out my team builder, I'd recommend you do. It's a live team builder, so the team we build around was like a team and stuff. Like, there wasn't any specific mon I was building around this game. I was just like, hey, these mons win. Anyways, if you don't want to look at that, I'll have my team paste bin in the description, and I'll just give a quick rundown of the team. So I have a physically defensive Shukaberry, Toxic Spikes, Haze, Toxapex, very standard, meant to make sure the Dragonite does not completely eat me alive. I have a Jolly Swords Dance 3 attacks Mega Heracross, meant to catch, meant to outspeed any kind of Volcanion, and meant to potentially catch like Adamant D-Knight and the likes. Next we have the old standard Assault Vest Torn, very important to sponge hits from stuff like the Volcanion mainly, and it gets good chip damage against his team. Have Nasty Plot 3 attacks Gracium Z Ninetales, which is pretty neat with the Drought, of course, Fire Blast, Solar Beam, and HP Ice for the Dragonite. I have a Heavy Metal Stealth Rock 3 attacks Bronzong, which was meant for his Clefable, which he didn't bring because Heavy Metal Heavy Slam always 2-hit KO'd a Fizz-Def Clef, so that was one thing I wanted to go for. And lastly, we have a Calm Mind 3 attacks Landorus with Life Orb, HP Ice, Earth Power, and I believe Sludge Wave, which really hurt his team. Some notable things that Rufus didn't bring. He did not bring the Clefable, which I found very surprising. We don't see Superior, which is good because Superior could have been very annoying. Those were the two big things that I was more or less expecting to see that I did not, which is really good because that means I don't have to deal with them. Because he didn't bring Clefable, he doesn't have a single thing that can take 2 hits from Mega Heracross, which is incredible. Unless he's max Fizz-Def Mega Aggron, it can potentially take 2 close combats, but you know, I'm not really worried about that. I think he'll be some sort of other set. He has shown to be pretty innovative with his Mega Aggron, so definitely something I have to look out for, though I do have the Toxapex and the Heracross and the Ninetales and Landorus, all of which can put some pressure on that thing. We do see the Fearow, though, which, not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting to see, just because Rufus really likes his Fearow. Like, it's not a good mon or anything, but and he knows that, but it's just a cool thing, and I did actually decide to speed creep it. I consider not, so that's going to be good. So stuff like my Landorus cannot speed it, and my Ninetales will speed tie with it if he is also running Jolly Max Speed. So that's interesting. But yeah, he doesn't have anything that switches into Heracross unless he's a very specially bulky Slowbro. He doesn't have a Landorus switch in, and his team is relatively slow, which is good. All I have to do is prevent the Dragonite from setting up against me, and I should be able to take this game without too much of a sitch. So let's go ahead and get into it. He also doesn't have removal unless he's bringing Defog Fearow or Dragonite. I don't even know if Fearow learns Defog. It probably does, but like, you never know. So we're just going to lead off with Bronzong, and he's going to lead off with Electabuzz. I don't fear this thing at all, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my Stealth Rocks up as he Volts, which is just showing me he's max special attack. And that's essentially going to do nothing as I'm at 88% as I get my rocks up. Now he brings in the Dragonite, which is very Spook McNoots. I'm going to go hard into my Toxapex so I can haze this thing right away. I can take, unless he's like Z Outrage, I can take a hit from this thing. Or maybe Z Thunder Punch, but I figured he'd probably be like Earthquake or something. But instead he decides to DD again, which was curious. It works for me because that means I can haze this thing. And as long as this thing does not have a boost, I do not fear it. So I'm just going to fire off a Scald right here as he goes for the Dragon Claw. And this damage is extremely significant because it shows me that he is an Adamant D-Knight. Jolly Dragonite cannot possibly do that much damage to Toxapex. So that means that my Heracross will always outspeed this thing, which is really, really good. Also, I get the burn right here, which is very fortunate, so this thing is no longer a threat to my team. And he is just going to hard switch out, as I believe I'm just going to lay up a Toxic Spike now that I'm safe to do so. So T-Spikes are up, and which is really, really good, which pressures mainly the Volcanion, but also stuff like the Electabuzz and, I don't know, other stuff. As Electabuzz comes out, I'm just going to fire off a Heavy Slam, I believe, right here. Or do I go for the EQ? Now I'm going to go for the EQ, not wanting the Volcanion to come in. As he brings in the Fearow, which I found curious, he can hit me with a Drill Run if he knows that I'm not Levitate, but I don't think he's going to go for that. And he goes for the Agility, so that's interesting. I go for the Heavy Slam, it fails to knock it out, even with Heavy Metal, and I figured if he's Agility, he's probably Baton Pass, which he is, so he's going to go into Volcanion. And I really deliberated going for the Earthquake right here to hit the Volcanion, but it wasn't worth the risk in case he decided to stay in for some reason and click Drill Run. That would put me in a kind of annoying position, though it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But Volcanion's here, it's taking rocks, it's taking a little chip damage, well, essentially no damage from Heavy Slam, but it's taking damage from the poison and the rock, so this thing's going to get chipped, and what I'm going to do first is go into my Toxapex. Because it's poison, it really can't beat me, because I have 2 Regenerator Mons, and Pex doesn't really care what this thing does. And what I'm going to do is take the Earth Power, let it pop my Shuka Berry, and this damage does show he's timid, by the way, and just haze away his speed boost, so essentially neutralizing this thing as a threat, and which also gets rid of Fearow and made it kind of useless. So rip Fearow. I'm just going to go into Torn now. Even if he went for the Steam Eruption or whatever, I take it pretty easily since I'm AV, and what I can do here is just fire off an Air Slash and hit it, fortunately, and knock out the Volcanion. So now it's going to go into Aggron. Now, Aggron's a scary guy. If he's like Rock Polish, that could be an issue. So I want to get damage off on this thing right away. So I'm going to fire off the Heat Wave, knowing that most likely he is... Well, I know he can't knock me out with Max Attack Heavy Slam, and I can't imagine he'll be running Stone Edge for me. So I'm just going to fire off a Heat Wave and get some chips, see what kind of set he is. And, like, of course we miss the Heat Wave, because that's what Heat Wave does. It misses. Can never trust those 90%. As he goes for the Magnet Rise, which is pretty cool. And Heat Wave damage does do 44, showing me that he's max HP, but no special defense investment, as he fires up a Heavy Slam, and that's max attack. That is a very spooky strong Aggron. I'm going to go for the U-turn right here, though, just get a little chip, get some Regenerator back, and essentially I'm just going to sack off my Toxapex, because if you notice at this point in the game, he doesn't have anything that deals with my Heracross. So what I'm going to do is click Scald a few times, let him knock out my Toxapex, and just bring in Heracross to win. I suppose I could have gone hard into Hera, but I didn't want to get overly chipped since he does have the Electabuzz, which can outspeed and hit me. So what I can do here is just go for the close combat and take out his Aggron. And I've already seen that it's an Adamant D-Knight, so my Heracross outspeeds it. And what I can just do here is go for a Rock Blast, hope I hit, which I do because Heracross doesn't let me down, and I'm able to knock out the Dragonite. So down goes that, and all he has left is a Fearow that dies to rocks, a Electabuzz, which can't do anything, which can't do very much damage to me. He's going to go for the T-Bolt. At -1, it does 58%, and I'm just going to be able to go for the Pin Missile, take it out, and all he has left that can live Stealth Rock is the Slowbro, which I can knock out by going for Pin Missile, and that is going to be the game. So we are going to take this one 5-0, which was pretty nice. It was a fun, quick game. Definitely got a little bit lucky with Scald Burn on the D-Knight, but aside from that, it was a very clean game. I also missed a Heat Wave, which was mildly annoying, but it didn't really matter. But yeah, it was a fun one. Mega Heracross finally got to do some things. It got 4 kills in this game, which is pretty neat. And we move on to 6-0 with a plus, let me think, 18 differential, which is very good for first place right now. Next week we're going to be taking on Gareth, and after that we're going to be taking on Carter. And then the last 2 weeks of the season we play Ethan and Yost, who are big playoff contenders that we'll have to beat. However, Gareth and Carter, not as much, though I think Gareth is like 3-2 right now, so we'll definitely have to do some good stuff in order to beat him. Can't just mess around against him. But anyways, that was a good one for us. Go check out Rufus. Yeah, he and Ethan should be uploading some porn vlogs pretty soon. I think so. At least they should. Anyways, yeah, this is going on too long. Hope you all enjoy it. Drop a like, leave a comment, all that bullshit, and I'll see you later. Bye.